One of the hopeful things that I've discovered is that nearly every war that has started in the past 50 years has been a result of media lies.
The future certainly looks bright, but it isn't without its darker sides. According to some predictions, obesity will likely run rampant, and political corruption will become so commonplace as to be accepted. People with nothing entertaining or informative to say will broadcast their demands for attention, and once beloved performers will become pushers of snake oil. Perhaps worst of all will be the emergence of a deadly and potentially devastating disease. Think of the last time that you contracted influenza. You were likely bedridden for days, having no appetite or desire to play games. Experts predict that by the year 2020, a new virus will rise, spreading from somewhere in Asia to the rest of the world. And with international travel being available to even the most common citizen, a sickness which would have been contained in years past will quickly spread to all corners of the globe.
Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Schul, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa. I give it to you live, uncensored. I think the magic in real time. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your momos, drop us the comments. You know what it is. Let's get it. All right, first order of business. You know you are in the future. You know you are in the 21st century when you hear headlines about the government genetically modifying mosquitoes. So check this out. Genetically modified mosquitoes is set to be released in California and Florida. Millions of genetically modified mosquitoes is set to be released in California and Florida in an effort to reduce the number of real disease-carrying invasive mosquitoes. Like the government or science playing Frankenstein hasn't ever created problems. I watched a documentary a few years back on a technology called CRISPR, a technology that was allowing people to genetically modify themselves. And people were modifying animals themselves, and this thing could be used to cure a whole bunch of problems. But hell, it could theoretically be used to make your dick bigger, make yourself not respond the same way to certain foods and so forth. I mean, the potential is infinite, and we are at that stage. But the crazy thing in this documentary was where they were talking about genetically modifying things like mosquitoes and changing the ecosystem. Because the thing is, if you genetically modify, let's say, a species, it's not just the fact that that species or that thing that you've genetically modified is genetically modified. It's the fact that their offspring are now genetically modified. So the babies that they have are now going to create other babies with this new gene editing. And the implications of that are vast. And they were having an ethical conversation as to whether or not they should use this technology to try to cure problems like mosquitoes, the problem of malaria, right, with mosquitoes. But the ethical conversation was around the fact that, well, things could go wrong, so they should probably speak to the people as to whether or not they should genetically modify the mosquitoes within this population. And I started thinking, whoa, I don't know if this is a good idea. I mean, first of all, has this been tested on a mass population before? Probably not. But the thing about science is it's always about, well, if we can do something, we should. Not as to whether or not we should do something ethically. It's like, let's just do it anyway. Let's just see what happens. It's like with the trial of the nuclear bomb. I mean, there was a point where scientists believed that detonating a nuclear bomb, this is before it had been tested, it might incinerate the atmosphere. They're having this conversation. And it wasn't like, oh, maybe we should not test nuclear weapons. It was like, oh, let's do it, even though there's a chance it might incinerate the atmosphere. And this is the mentality of scientists. So here we are in the 21st century. These mosquitoes have been genetically modified. The mosquitoes were made by UK-based biotechnology firm Oxitech, which is funded by the lo and behold, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It seems that they're behind everything that is nefarious in an effort to combat insect-borne diseases such as dengue fever, yellow fever, and the Zika virus. According to Oxitech, it's sustainable and targeted biological pest control technology. Oh, it's sustainable. You gotta love how they use words like that. It's perfectly safe. It's perfectly sustainable. It's not like, well, anything could go wrong. It's not like we tried this before many, many times and we have this worked out to a science. No, they're trying this, ladies and gentlemen, on a mass population for the first time. And they're saying, oh, it's perfectly safe. It's sustainable. Oh, God. Anyway, since it was first detected in California in 2013, the Aedes aegypti mosquito has spread rapidly to more than 20 countries throughout the state, increasing the risk of mosquito-borne diseases being transmitted to humans. So essentially, they're looking to genetically modify these mosquitoes to cure various viruses. All right, but these intentions often start as harmless enough. But the question I have is, what else can you do with this genetic modification? I mean, what if some crazy scientist decides to modify these mosquitoes to, I don't know, put a boom shakalaka into you? So now when you get bit by a mosquito, it's not like, woe is me, I have malaria. Now I have a boom shakalaka. And of course, I should feel happy because boom shakalakas are beautiful. They're safe. And no one ever dies from these things, right? Oh, God. Welcome to the 21st century. I see a world. I have a dream. The one day we will live in a nation where genetically modified mosquitoes shall be dropping boom shakalakas into us and keeping us safe. Or killing us. All right. What else? Okay, so petrol prices are going through the roof, as you would expect in light of this war. Australian food and petrol prices will skyrocket due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Scott Morrison warns. The war and resulting sanctions on Moscow has pushed up global oil prices, understandably. Like, that was a good idea. Let's put sanctions on Russia. It's not like they're not going to respond. It's not like we're not going to have any blowback, right? Let's not allow Russians to import any of our shit. Hell, let's not allow Australians to buy anything from Russia. What's interesting now is just the tremendous censorship that is, well, not censorship, but essentially how Russia has been shut out as a country. It's like, this is what I hate about the entire system. It's like one man decides to invade. Because look, it's one man that's made this decision, right? Now all the people in Russia have to suffer the effects of this. Now, if you're Russian, from what I heard, various sports organizations are not allowing them to compete. I mean, now Russia has been taken off of the latest, I think it's the EA sports game, some game. Wish I had confirmed what game it was, but essentially the Russian team is no longer going to be featured in this game, right? It has so much of a ripple effect. It's like, oh, we're not going to allow any of the Russians now to participate in international affairs because of what one man has decided to do. I hate this collectivist think mentality, this game where one person does something and because they're connected to a tribe, everyone that is connected to that tribe has to suffer the consequences. That stuff is crazy, but that's the world that we live in. So essentially, we have put sanctions on Moscow and they've responded by, well, increasing their petrol, which is really going to hit the bottom. Is going to hit people in the pocket. It's not going to hit yours truly, though. Yours truly doesn't really use petrol. I use electricity. I got myself an electric unicycle. Oh, these things are so efficient. I mean, I get about 180 kilometers on this thing. Goes 55 kilometers an hour. It is the most efficient portable transport device in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I'm doing a plug for the electric unicycle. You got to get yourself some kind of electric device. That's where it's at. Or get yourself some. There are actual renewable transport devices. Like there is this guy, I forget his name. He was featured on the documentary Thrive from Zimbabwe that has created a helicopter that essentially recharges itself. It's able to convert the ambient radio frequencies into energy. This is some Tesla shit. This is like some Nikola Tesla shit. In the 21st century, that's right, we have this technology, the ability to harness essentially zero-point energy. But you don't hear the mainstream media talking about that, right, do you? You just hear the perpetuation of petrol. Oh, we need petrol. It's the only sustainable form of power. We need nuclear power. This stuff is so 2000 and late. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, as you would expect in the realm of cryptocurrencies, Joe Biden has decided to create a digital currency. President Joe Biden on Wednesday ordered government agencies to begin work on creating a digital US dollar, weighing the risks and benefits of a move that could be a game changer for the global financial system. Coming amid the explosive rise of private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, the U.S. effort will place the highest urgency on research and development efforts into the potential design and deployment options of the United States digital currency, like we couldn't see that one coming. Now look, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the fiat cryptocurrency as long as you guys don't try to force everyone to use this shit like you have with the boom shakalaka. You see, this is what happens. It's like they create some amazing technology that has all of these, dubious effects, right? Like a boom shakalaka that's going to save the world, or a genetically modified mosquito that is going to save us from malaria and so forth. And, obviously you can imagine some side effects to this thing. And look, I believe in a free society. If you want to use that stuff, it's fine. But then suddenly they say, well, this thing is too good to be true that we're going to force you to use this shit. Now, there's nothing that is so good that you must force people to use it. Even sex. I mean, look, sex with me is pretty amazing, right? It's pretty amazing. However, if I was to force people to have sex with me because it's so amazing, I'd be called a rapist, which is typically, even in the 21st century, in this insanity, is still, I consider to be a horrible thing. And this is what the government starts to do. Governments typically try to force people to use their technologies. And this is what I hope we don't end up seeing with this new government-sanctioned cryptocurrency. Anyway, finally, ladies and gentlemen, there is a new digital bill that is looking to be implemented. The Trusted Digital Identity Bill 2021 is a piece of legislation designed to act as the framework for a permanent and expansive digital identity for all Australian citizens. Oh, really? So essentially, you want me to have some kind of digital identity card, and unless, of course, I use this card, I won't be able to use, wait for it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and so forth. I won't be able to exist on the interwebs. I think I'll pass. So, we're the MyGov app. MyGov is an app we use to essentially to pay our taxes, well, some of us, and gain access to a whole bunch of social securities and so forth, and amongst other things. We're the MyGov app. This is in Australia, mind you. Links things like a driver's license, passport, Medicare card, and vaccination record. The digital identity sets out to link all government data related to a person. Oh, really? Like, it's a good idea to have all of your data in the hands of the government. I'll pass. I'm going to stay Mr. Esoteric Noetic, and I'm going to keep this stuff hidden to me and a small section of my friends. I'm not giving you my information. Can't trust the government with this kind of shit. Governments do not create large citizen data collection points for no reason. Damn right, for no reason. They typically use that stuff against you. This information is valuable not only for research purposes, but for political strategies and future policies. It's valuable because they can figure out all this information about you. We're living in this information age now, where the government compiles all this information about every single thing that you do. When you sleep, who you have sex with, what your thoughts are, and then eventually it can use this to control you. Use this to essentially figure out how to better enslave you. Now, I, for one, I'm not a fan of that. And I, for one, I'm not going to give him my information if I can help it. Anyway, I'm sure they go on to talk about how amazing this new technology is. And here we go. The World Economic Forum has their hands on this. It's like you have a look at all of these systems that are in place, and they all go up. It's like a hierarchy. You can see that it's typically some kind of a World Economic Forum, or I don't want to mention his name, but typically you'll find some figure that looks like a James Bond villain that is behind this shit, This is all part of Agenda 21. And eventually, you realize that this is all part of a plan. It's called Revisit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, give us a like, tell your mom, tell your momos, drop us some comments. Remember, there are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of the chocolate Nubian soul brother. Be sure to check us out on the Patreon if you want to follow us. I got a podcast coming up very soon, a new podcast. And until next time, peace be upon your butt cheeks, peace in the Middle East. Until next time, Chris Jewell. Ow!
What is liberty?
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet?
What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
There are no political solutions, only technological ones.
The economics of the system don't allow multiple competing systems to survive.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.